Oh, jeez. I don't think this is working. Jiggle my jelly beans. 4 red daily candles in a row for Bitcoin's price, as in fact right now we're testing one of the most critical levels on Bitcoin's daily chart. And more importantly, this explosive chart is just screaming that it's gonna burst. Let's do this. Welcome back, Squirty Squadron. My name is Timmy and we've got so much to be jumping into in these Bitcoin charts. 2 specific things that we talked about in yesterday's video have come to fruition, and we're going to be doing a deep dive into that in this video. And as well, guys, we have a bunch of announcements coming later in the video as well. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, turn on those post notifications, as we will be doing more and more live streams as price breakouts and dumps happen. So you don't want to miss those, guys. And as well, we do have actually quite a bit of announcements at the end of the video that we want to go over as well. So make sure to stay tuned. So without any further ado, let's dump in. Guys, so starting out on this hourly chart, what we were talking about yesterday before we rebounded up to about 35, even 36,500 US dollars, did come to fruition. And so again, this is a really good sign so far. The next thing I want to see though on this hourly chart is come up to this 21 moving average on the hourly chart and flip this. That's going to be the next key thing. The big battle going on right now is going to be between, or that we're going to see over the next day or two, is going to be between 34 to 36,000 US dollars. Basically this level right here that I have in this blue rectangle. So basically the level that we have to watch out for over the next 48, maybe 72 hours is how Bitcoin interacts between 34 and 36,000 US dollars. So as you can see on this chart, and what has played out since we made our last video, is that Bitcoin did break above the 21 moving average on this hourly chart. And in fact, initially actually found resistance on that 50, and right now you see potentially a bullish short-term cross happening. However, what we see exactly at that cross, which is also exactly at 35,000 US dollars per Bitcoin, is that it's getting rejected right exactly at that level in the short term. Now, this is very critical right now because these are the exact key levels we talked about, and reclaiming $35,000 on some higher time frame charts is exactly what we want to do, and exactly what we talked about yesterday in terms of getting Bitcoin back on a bullish trajectory to potentially approach the high 30,000s and potentially approach all-time highs by the end of this week. But that can't happen unless we reclaim 35,000 US dollars, which as you can see, guys, on this 1 hour chart, we did get above some of those levels, but that's not reclaiming it, right? We need to actually cement it with 6 hour and daily closes, which we simply haven't done yet. So as well, if we switch to this daily chart, this is really important. And as well, something absolutely insane with the DXY that we're about to jump into in a second. But this level is absolutely key to me. So if we do fail to hold this 35,000, between right now, it's fluctuating between 34,300 and 35,000 even, then it is possible we could end up having one more retouch down to the 21-day moving average, as we talked about yesterday. And specifically, what would be bullish about that scenario is if we did come down and set another low, but specifically a higher low, because that's what we're looking for. We're ideally looking for anything above 30,100 or 30,000 even, basically. It went all the way down to about 30,084. So within $84 of 30,000. But ultimately, we want to set a higher low if we come back down here, and that wouldn't be bad. So pay attention to what I just said there. If we did come back down here, let's say we do end up coming down to 31,000 US dollars, even 30,500 or 30,000 even 200 US dollars, that wouldn't necessarily be bad. I know for a fact a lot of you would be, some of you would be panicking. You would think, oh geez, this didn't hold, we're about to go lower. Not necessarily, guys. This pattern is just playing out. There's a lot of speculation on, are we going to form a triangle? Are we going to form a symmetrical triangle, an ascending triangle, a descending triangle? Are we in fact forming a head and shoulders pattern here? Head and shoulders is one specifically a lot of people are talking about right now, which would basically be, I mean, to be honest, it kind of looks exactly like what we're setting here. And if we did come back down and set that low there of about 31 or 32,000, even if it would be a higher low, I know for a fact a lot of people would be panicking, because what many people would think there is we just set a head and shoulders pattern, which is typically a bearish pattern. It is a bearish pattern. And we would break lower. And so, guys, we're going to actually be talking more about that. But for right now, I want to do something else. And again, something we need to factor in first and foremost before Bitcoin TA is this. Yesterday, we talked about in our video about Bitcoin breaking above the 21-day moving average, and we specifically said if it comes back to revisit a backtest of the 21-day moving average, as now we're currently above the 21-day, but now we really want to see too if we backtest this 21-day, if this holds, because if this falls, get ready for a Bitcoin pump sooner than later. Okay, exactly like you saw in that clip. If we backtest this and find support, then again, we could maybe see this DXY continue to play out, and that makes it more likely that in fact we could see a head and shoulders pattern, and in fact we could actually see Bitcoin potentially push a little bit lower to $30,000 and below. However, that's not necessarily a bad thing just yet, and let me explain. So first off, this is really critical. We're literally testing this right now as I'm recording this video. So depending on what happens here, if this breaches and the DXY falls back down below 90, right now it's at 90.05. If it falls back down below 90 and falls back below this 21-day moving average, then I think that it makes it more likely that Bitcoin is not going to play out to another downside move, and we will further cement maybe a higher low still above 30,000 US dollars, and we could avoid a head and shoulders scenario. However, if this does bounce here, which it's literally happening right now, so we need to be careful, if it does bounce here, then I do think it makes it a little likely that we actually could see this 6-hour, and it's on the 6-hour or 4-hour, potential head and shoulders scenario here, guys. Now, another thing I really want to point out about this too is that for this to play out, it would only really need to come down to maybe like 31,000 before there's a somewhat, pretty clear head and shoulders pattern here. If it did come down again to about that 31,000, even, high $30,000 level, does that mean I think we're going to have a breakout, all the way down to the low 20,000 US dollars? Not necessarily. So what I'm saying there is, even if we have the DXY pump here, which normally means a Bitcoin dump, if the DXY pumps, usually a Bitcoin dump. Even if that happens, where we have Bitcoin dump here, when the DXY pumps, and let's say we do cement like a head and shoulder scenario where we go down, I still don't think that we're going to go to the low 20s. And one of the main reasons for that, guys, is that this is a pattern that's only about a week or so forming, if this is a head and shoulders pattern. What's more important here, though, is the overall trend of this. And the overall trend is pretty strong, but keep in mind, guys, if we did actually form this pattern, it's hard to see on the daily chart, which is this. You can see it on like the 4 and 6 hour. This is exactly what we're talking about. Let me actually just get out the... So this is what we're talking about. Let me just get the actual tool out, the head and shoulder tool. All right, let's say we do set something like this, right? Say we come back down to 30 and we set somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern. Again, you can only see it really on the 4. You can see it on the 6 hour. On the daily chart, you can't really see it. If we do break out here, guys, the ultimate level, the lowest level that I think is possible, which in my opinion would be potentially the best single place to place a long for Bitcoin. Again, not financial advice, but that's what I'm going to be doing. If Bitcoin does actually break down to this level, and it comes down to this 50-day moving average, which is a little bit higher than the breakdown target of what this would be. Let's say it breaks down to about 24,000, anywhere in the 24,000s, whether it's high 24,000s or low 24,000s. That might be the single best entry for Bitcoin that exists, or that will exist from here on out in Bitcoin's price structure. So that might literally be, and I can say that extremely confidently, if we would actually break down here, and if $30,000 isn't the low, okay, because we just want to cover all scenarios. We don't want to assume anything. But if we actually did come back down to this, for the first time, touching on this 50-day moving average for the first time in, because guys, it's been a long time. We haven't touched the 50-day moving average since October 9th. Okay, we haven't even gotten anywhere close to this moving average in 3 entire months. So, and again, we're extremely overextended with Bitcoin, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that this scenario could happen. I personally think it's a little unlikely at this point, but I'm just playing devil's advocate. If we would actually fail here, and this head and shoulders that everyone talks about does come to fruition, this right here would be an insane entry point for Bitcoin. This might be the cheapest Bitcoin we'll ever get again from here on out. And based on my analysis of just, the trend of Bitcoin, where I expect us to go over the next 1, 2, 3 months and beyond, I personally am very confident in saying this would be legitimate, the primo entry point for Bitcoin. So this is a really big important scenario that we need to be looking for, because guys, if we actually get this breakdown, you are not going to want to be away from the charts when we get that, right? Whether you want to set a long or just ladder into Bitcoin at those prices, it's very important that over the next, 24, 48 hours, depending on how long it actually takes for us to even consider going down to this level. Because if we reclaim 35 and 36,000 US dollars here in the next 24 hours, I think it pretty much eliminates this scenario. But again, this is crunch time. If we can actually get this low, which I still think it's pretty unlikely, but if we do, that is extremely important. You need to watch for. And again, so much of it hinges on this, because as we're right now testing this 21-day moving average for the DXY, if we bounce here, then there is that possibility that we could see that head and shoulders play out, and we could see ourselves go lower for Bitcoin's price. But as well, guys, I want to throw it out here. The buy pressure that we saw for Bitcoin yesterday specifically, and over the last few days, and all of these massive wicks really on this daily chart, there's a lot of buying pressure. So again, that's why I'm trying to reiterate as much as possible that if we ever did get a scenario in the next 1 or 2 days where we come down to the $24,000, $25,000 level, it's not going to be there very long. It is going to be a very, very, very short-lived drop if we would get there. So again, if you're looking to enter Bitcoin, and if we come anywhere near this $24,000, $25,000 level, you're going to want to act quick. Make sure you're prepared preemptively, because there is not going to be a lot of time for this. And honestly, guys, this would be an insane opportunity. I've been talking about how I've been still adding to Ethereum, and I haven't really added to Bitcoin in a while. If we hit this target, then yes, I would actually be adding more to Bitcoin at this level. And as well, guys, I wanted to cover this. So this is basically the chart I'm going to be looking for the year 2021 long term. Just some fib levels to look for. This is the daily chart. We have some really interesting price targets, 58,000 US dollars, 120,000 US dollars, 190,000 US dollars, which is my personal target for the year 2021. But keep in mind, we have some much higher targets. We have a $300,000 plus Bitcoin, and we have some people talking about a $700,000 to $1 million Bitcoin in 2021, which again is ultimate bull scenario. Everything would have to go right for Bitcoin. The dollar would have to keep plummeting. Bitcoin would have to be bought up by institution after institution globally, right? So many things would have to go right, but it is a scenario we're watching for, and so it'll just be really interesting to see this chart play out throughout the year 2021. Wow, so guys, keep in mind, I am going to be going live more often when some big moves happen, so we can watch it live. And in fact, over the next month and a half, I'm going to be transitioning to a new location. And at that new location, I actually plan on doing live streaming more often. My current situation where I live doesn't really allow for that. But yeah, within the next month or two, when I do move, there is going to be much more live streaming going on here. So make sure you have those bell notifications turned on if you want to get those updates in the future when that's going to be happening. And as well, potentially over on Twitch, twitch.tv/TylerSCrypto. But yeah, some things are going to be changing over the next month and a half, 2 months here. And I won't be here anymore where I live currently. Very excited for that. But as well, guys, we do actually have a current bonus here on Bybit. You can see the deposit bonuses if you deposit using my link below. This is only going to be available for the next few weeks using code JACKPOT at checkout. But yeah, you can get up to an additional $620 for trading on Bybit when you use my link below. Remember, trading is always risky, so be careful. Never trade more than you're willing to lose. But if you have experience and you want to support the channel, make sure to use those deposit bonuses below.